not pineapple with a sore throat. So this is Manu from the marketing team at SocialSwap. So usually you'll see me as Mango over the Discord. So yeah, very nice to meet you. You might not see me that often on the general chat, but that's because I'm mostly in charge of the Spanish-speaking community. But it's a pleasure for me to be here. I'm stepping in for Pineapple today. She couldn't make it, but I promise to keep things just as fun and informative. So, as always, we'll be sharing the latest updates about the SocialSwap platform, what's been happening across our ecosystem, our latest developments, including, of course, the new website, the mobile app, share some news. Probably you saw some news lately involving the Hedera Foundation. So yeah, we'll be speaking about that, plus answering the great questions you've submitted until now. So with that, let's just jump right in. And today, if you didn't see on the general chat, we have also a bit different dynamic. So I'm pleased to share that we'll have both co-founders of SocialSwap, Peter and Joseph, also known as Hash Burglar, answering the question. So that being said, let's start. And yeah, let's send things over to Peter. Peter, welcome.
Hey, yeah, thanks, Mango, and hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And yeah, really happy to have Joseph here as well for this AMA. So few quick updates before we jump into questions. There are 3 things I want to bring up front. 1, we have secured a grant from the Hedera Foundation that extends our runway by over 12 months and lets us grow the team so we can deliver a lot of new features. So if you haven't seen the illustration of our roadmap, that is in the Twitter post, so go check that out. This grant is specifically for development, and as we've discussed in past AMAs, our growth focus right now is on sustainable development and sustainable rewards to LPs through protocol usage rather than subsidized rewards. So there was a question around that in the Discord. This is a development grant specifically. Number 2, we will likely have an announcement this coming week about joining the Mika Crypto Alliance. This is an alliance that is backed by Hedera, and this development is all about aligning with EU regulatory standards and making sure we're set up in the right way for institutional capital once it comes into the space. Number 3, on the product front. So lot to talk about here. The mobile app with the built-in wallet is in the QuantStamp audit now. We have addressed their findings, so we're just waiting on the final go-ahead from them. The new web app is, as mentioned, a full rebuild that is in active development, and we'll get into ETAs, I think, further into this AMA. Per second pricing is live in the back end. It is not yet live in the product on the web app, but we do plan to launch with that with the mobile app. And the ERC20 wrapper contract is in review. I should say we already had a review from Hashgraph, and we are now writing some integration tests over the weekend. We are planning to kick off an audit for the ERC20 wrapper on Monday. This has been kind of a protracted process, but the audit shouldn't be too long. It's a pretty simple contract. On Axelar and Squid, our UI work is targeted for Q4. And our near-term focus is getting the mobile app out, the web app, and limit orders live. So we will start by just dropping 2 quick previews today. I have some iOS App Store screenshots as a teaser. So basically when you go on the App Store and, there's the images there to preview the app, this is what we currently have drafted. And another thing is a short clip from the app page of the website. So on our new website, we have a page that helps users onboard into downloading the app and using SocialSwap on mobile. So I'll have a quick clip that shows the current state of that page. So just give me one moment and I'll paste these into the general chat. Cool. So the iOS screens should be posted, and I think the short clip is posting as well. And maybe Noob, if you could just do an @ here in the channel so everyone can see that. Cool. So the agenda for this AMA, we have timelines for mobile and web. We're going to talk about limit orders, the current state of cross-chain integrations, including Layer 0 and Axelar, listing progress, including the regulated Asian exchange we're working toward, and some marketing marketing endeavors tied to the launch, mostly around the mobile app. So yeah, lots to talk about today. Thanks for being here. Let's get into your questions.
Okay, great. That's a very nice intro. So thank you very much. Guys, on the general chat, you can see now some previews, the ones that Peter just posted. So have a look. I'm sure you will like them. And yeah, now let's just jump into the questions. So the first one, Peter, how does the new mobile and desktop UX support Saucer Swap's long-term goal of becoming the Uniswap of Hedera?
Yeah, so for me, the quote-unquote Uniswap of Hedera comes down to two main pillars, something that Uniswap has nailed and that we're focusing on, and that's access and execution. So on access, the new mobile app is designed to make onboarding as straightforward as possible. It has a built-in wallet and will eventually integrate an in-app on-ramp as well, so new users can go from not having any account on the Hedera network to having an account and trading without having to piece together multiple tools. That is key for expanding beyond the existing Hedera native crowd. On execution, we've moved pricing to per second updates. As I mentioned, this is live on the back end, and we're building toward best execution routing similar to Uniswap Smart Router. To give some data about how important this is, for large trades in shallow or fragmented liquidity, this is empirical data. Uniswap's Smart Router can save 10 to 50 basis points on a trade. So if you imagine a large trade, that could be thousands of dollars. And in extreme cases, it is really the difference between a passable execution and a terrible one. So execution is very important to become the quote unquote Uniswap of Hedera. That combination, access, execution, is what can continue to position Saucer Swap as the go-to DEX on the network.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Peter. So related also to this development, the people wants to know an update. So what's the ATA for the wallet and the new app? Like, how's it looking so far?
Yeah, we're still on schedule. So the mobile app is through the internal fixes. We've addressed the audit findings. That was a really good process with QuantStamp, by the way. And it's now in their hands to deliver that final report. So if we get the go ahead, we'll move into internal QA in the second half of August. So we'll probably spend this week just wrapping that up with QuantStamp and doing some UI work. And then after the internal QA, we'll open up a public beta through test flight toward the end of the month. After that will be the public launch. So iOS will go live first on the App Store, followed by Android on the Google Play Store. On the new web app, we are targeting September. So mobile app is going to come out first, and then the web app. As mentioned, it is a full rebuild. You can see in that video clip a little bit of how it works. But it has all new pages. It fixes a lot of existing problems with the web app. And we hear everyone's feedback about that. This is really a step up in execution. And that will be live once QA and the infrastructure cutover are complete. So we're targeting September.
Okay, cool. Great to know. So everyone keep an eye on the public beta towards the end of the month. But yeah, just for you to know, we're still according to the plan. So The third question, Peter, how does the Hashback team feel about the Saucer Swap launching their own wallet?
Yeah, that's a question for Hashback. I think from our side, the relationship has not changed. We're partners, not competitors. The only reason the mobile app has a wallet in it, and this has been mentioned before, is because App Store policies require it for a native DEX. This mobile app is not a wallet first product. It is a DEX first product that includes wallet functionality so users can sign and transact in app. Hashback remains a core wallet in the Hedera ecosystem. You'll keep seeing us work together just like we always have. And, there are a lot of existing integrations. Pack has a Larry campaign going on Saucer Swap. Hashback uses Saucer Swap liquidity pools for their in-app in-wallet swaps. So we'll continue collaborating.
Great. Thank you very much, Peter. And now the next one says, what branding updates or style changes are being introduced with the redesign, and how will that affect Saucer Swap's tone and identity across channels?
Yeah. Well, you'll see in the previews posted, the new brand is better. It's more mature. It's more credible. It's cleaner. We spent a lot of time going through revisions with the brand and what the UI can look like and what the flows can be. And we've refined it because we know that Saucer Swap needs to look and feel like a product people trust and enjoy using. The redesign stems from that. We're making the UI as accessible and intuitive as possible because, I mean, if you've ever tried to introduce DeFi to somebody else who has not used DeFi protocols or doesn't really know crypto, it's the learning curve is steep. It's super complex, and we want to be able to bring in new users. It has to be easy to use. It has to be a beautiful UI at the same time. And that's what this update is about on the surface. There's also a ton of stuff going on the back end to solve some of the existing problems with trade execution and quotes and price updates. So that's the inspiration for the redesign and the rebrand.
Nice. And I mean, based on the feedback from people in the general chat, I think people is liking the new design, the new image. So yeah, thank you very much. Now the next question says, how will you measure user satisfaction and iterate post-launch? Are there plans for user surveys, in-app feedback loops, or A/B testing?
Yeah, we already get a lot of high signal qualitative feedback through our support ticketing system in Discord, as well as feedback on our social media. So if you think about a product, not in maybe Web3 or not in fintech with ticketing like that, maybe like some game app, we're not in the same position as them, where we need to rely on user surveys. We get a lot of data already, and that's been working well for us. We'll keep using it. It also allows users to just contact us directly. So that being said, we do have a head of growth position live now. It's a job posting. Part of that role will be to focus on exactly this: user feedback, iteration, growth, A/B testing, etc. And I know we get a lot of listeners live and then after the fact to these AMAs. So if you're listening and if you think you're a good fit, you can create a support ticket to apply. This job posting is on a few sites already, but yeah, feel free to apply if you think you're a fit. For right now, the A/B tests or in-app prompts are not something we're planning to include at launch for the mobile app. I think if we have a future version of the mobile app that really requires that kind of testing, like some big feature that we want to see if users actually like, we can do A/B testing. But right now, it doesn't make sense to do that. It'd just be extra development that we don't need.
Okay, thank you very much for the update. And now the next question says, are there any upcoming features or product experiments the team is particularly excited about?
For me, the big one is the mobile app. I really believe this is going to be a grand slam. Having Hedera DeFi in your pocket with real-time per second pricing, I mean, just think about that versus how users are currently interfacing with Hedera DeFi. It is fundamentally different. And I think it will be kind of a paradigm shift for SaucerSwap and Hedera DeFi. There's a lot more coming. We have limit orders, DCA, stop loss. Those are huge upgrades. Limit orders is by far our most requested feature. But if I had to pick one thing, it's the mobile app tied together with the real-time pricing. I think that combination is just a winner.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. And now a very common question that is asked across the channel is like, how is the integration with Axelar and this router progressing? What new user flows will this enable?
Yeah. So context here, we had a call with ecosystem partners last week, and it looks like there will be several different interfaces in the network for bridging assets. That means SaucerSwap being the only interface for this is not critical right now. So we have sequenced other priorities first. As I mentioned, the mobile app, the web app, limit orders. We're still planning to integrate with Axelar first, and we have a call with them this coming week to go over the go-to-market. I know it's been a long time coming. It does seem like this one is close. Most of our integration work is already done. Once they formally launch, we will still need to run testing to make sure everything works as intended. For those reasons, Axelar in our UI is now likely to follow the mobile app and the new web app. For Layer 0, it seems there will also be multiple interfaces supporting their bridged assets. And instead of building an in-app bridge for Layer 0 immediately, our bigger focus actually is the ERC20 wrapper. Some Layer 0 assets will come through as ERC20, and we want them to trade seamlessly on SaucerSwap. Limit orders remains the most requested feature, so those are also high on the list once the mobile app and the web app launches are out. So that's the current bridge integration update. I think this is really good for the ecosystem that there will be multiple interfaces to bridge to Hedera.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And now this next one is split into two parts. First, it says like, one cross-chain is live. Which ecosystems are you targeting first for liquidity and user acquisition? What is the team doing to raise awareness and drive new user growth outside the Hedera native community? And then the second part reads, is there a plan for incentivizing liquidity providers to bring in liquidity from Ethereum or Solana once bridging is available? And I believe this question will be answered by Joseph.
Hey guys. Yeah, no, it's great to be back on the SaucerSwap AMA. I've still been involved behind the scenes for those wondering, but I stepped back from the public-facing side for a bit, just while traveling and working on a few things outside of crypto. So I'm now back in the full swing and looking forward to the rest of the year. So to address the question, when cross-chain is live, our initial focus will be on the top Layer 1 and Layer 2 ecosystems, ranked by a combination of active addresses, TVL, bridge liquidity, on-chain volume, and user demographics. So currently, Ethereum leads with 540,000 active addresses and 91 billion in TVL. That's followed by Solana with 3 million active addresses and 10.5 billion in TVL. BSC is next with 2 million active addresses and 7 billion in TVL. And then Base with 1.2 million active addresses, and Arbitrum with 380,000 active addresses. So lower ranked networks see a steep drop off from here. For example, Avalanche, which is ranked number 9 on DeFi Llama, only has 40,000 active addresses. So our early efforts will be concentrated where the opportunity is largest. And the strategy centers on delivering a seamless front-end bridge experience to move and swap assets between Hedera and these ecosystems. Also, guided by the governance process, our tokenomics will be tuned to attract cross-chain liquidity. That'll include targeted incentives in the form of Larry and farm emissions. So we plan to start with a balanced, flexible parameters and adjust in response to observed trends. So for instance, if base liquidity were to outpace Solana, we can reweight incentives accordingly. So this approach lets us compete for capital where the most active users already are, while adapting quickly to the real world market behavior.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, it makes total sense. So appreciate it. And now the next question. Features and utility drive long-term value more than listings, which often brings sell pressure. How is the team prioritizing product development for sauce?
I love this question. Yeah, we start from the product first. If you look at the most successful projects in Web3, they rarely pay for centralized exchange listings. They build something people want, is successful, it gains traction, and then the exchanges come to them. A lot of the time, the listing fees are waived and they'll just provide liquidity. We've already seen this happen with Sauce to a lesser degree. A couple of exchanges listed the token completely of their own accord, unprompted, including one called CoinEx. We literally woke up one day and it was listed on CoinEx. Paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for a listing is not a good use of capital for the product we're building. It is better to invest those resources directly into protocol development. That's exactly what we do. Every dollar of revenue, every dollar from the Hedera Foundation grant is going into product development. That's our strategy. We invest in the product, we deliver value on chain, and we let that success drive listings organically.
Thanks, Spirit. I appreciate it. Now we have this following request. It says, can you walk us through how the revised XSauce buyback split is performing so far? Are there any early insights or adjustments planned?
So just to quickly recap the governance proposal, the revised XSauce buyback split diverts 55.5% of Sauce buybacks from auto compounding into XSauce towards 2 new allocations. So there's 24.5% to protocol owned liquidity, or POL, and the incentive reserve, and 30% to a new development fund. And that 55.5% figure was chosen because it keeps the single-sided staking APR roughly in line with the historic median, and that was calculated using the full available data range. The creation of the dev fund enables us to reduce the interface fee from 0.4% to 0.25%. So that's a 37.5% reduction. And this change was actually recommended by a community member in the RFC, so that was great to see. The POL plus incentive reserve allocation is designed to deploy as liquidity rewards for Larry and farms, and that's currently targeting roughly 50-50 split with slightly more weight on V2. And in terms of performance tracking, we don't actually have data yet, as this is part of a proposal. Like, this part of the proposal was on hold while we finalized the smart contract development needed to support it. The current BrewSaucer contract can only route tokens to a single address, so we had a developer update the Solidity code to enable multiple address routing. And we actually just got confirmation a few hours ago that BrewSaucer v3, the contract in question, is deployed and ready to go. So we're targeting Monday's epoch transition to activate these tokenomics changes.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, I think this is a great reminder, like, also for the community, that like you all have like valuable ideas. So like, please, like, submit it if you see this change of the interface fee reduction was driven by a community member. So please share always your ideas in the RFC. So yeah, we hear you. Now for the next question, what are the long-term goals for the SOS token utility beyond governance and staking?
Yeah, no, I like this one. So beyond governance and staking, one of the major long-term utilities we've been building towards for SOS is its role in our upcoming perpetuals market that was included in the recently published roadmap. So in this design, SOS wouldn't just be a governance or reward token. It will become an integral part of a diversified basket of assets. And that's conceptually similar to how Jupiter uses Jupe in their ecosystem. So in Jupiter's model, Jupe underpins their perpetuals and index products, acting as both a value capture and risk management tool. And we're exploring a comparable structure where SOS would help collateralize and balance exposure within a basket of perpetual contracts. And that basket would also potentially cover HBAR, cross-chain assets, and maybe some HTS tokens. This approach creates structural utility for SOS outside of farming and staking. So to quickly break it down, traders interacting with the perpetuals market would indirectly, need to use SOS within the protocol. And the index fund mechanics could lock up a portion of SOS supply, which reduces the circulating float. Then performance fees or rebalance events could cycle value back into SOS buybacks, for example. And that ties into the deflationary feedback loop that was alluded to in our recent tokenomics proposal. So our goal is to make SOS as an indispensable component of a high-volume derivatives platform, moving it from being primarily a governance token to being deeply embedded in the trading infrastructure itself. So very excited.
Awesome. Thank you, Joseph. And now the next question that also is mentioned quite a lot on the general chat. We've seen recurring issues where SOS buybacks don't execute on time and carry into the next day. Will upcoming platform updates fix these inconsistencies?
So right now, SOS buybacks are triggered by a script we run manually, and that calls a contract, which means execution timing can occasionally slip, as you've seen. Going forward, we're looking at one of two improvements. So we can either allow anyone to call the contract at any time, or introduce fully automated execution via a cron job or similar scheduler. So the goal is to make buybacks completely consistent and no longer dependent on manual intervention.
Okay, very nice to hear. So the next one says, any change you can review and possibly lower source or swap fees? I find your fees very expensive. So of course, we touched a bit this topic already, but if you have something else to say, please, Joseph.
Yeah, no. So yeah, as you mentioned, or as I mentioned, we're lowering the interface fee from 0.4% to 0.25%. That's made possible by the DAO approved tokenomics changes soon to be activated. And again, specifically diverting 30% of buybacks to a development fund. This keeps operations sustainable while allowing us to execute on the roadmap we outlined yesterday. And to be clear, this new development fund allocation doesn't grow our revenue. It simply enables us to maintain a delta positive runway with an 18 to 24 month horizon. And that's necessary for high growth startups like ourselves. In fact, at current interface and volume capture rates, our revenue is actually slightly decreasing from this. On the funding side, the Hedera Foundation grant was structured to provide roughly a 12-month runway, and we bridge the remaining 6 to 12 months with the interface fee. And that's soon to be a combination of the reduced interface fee and the dev fund. The grant's therefore allocated towards roadmap development, so we can capture more volume and users with the goal of reaching profitability and phasing out subsidies. For that reason, no grant funds are earmarked for liquidity incentives. But with that said, we do have strategic ways of incentivizing the protocol, such as the aforementioned 24.5% POL plus incentive reserve, which is a SOS buyback allocation. To return to your original question, traders pay the pool's swap fee. So for example, 0.15% in the HBAR USDC V2 pool, plus the 0.25% interface fee. And because only the interface fee is being reduced, LP fee incentives remain unchanged, making this a win for both traders and LPs.
Okay, great. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much for the comments. So now the next question says, is it cheaper to swap tokens via Sorcerer Swap or Hashback?
They pay the same swap fee at the contract level. So that's 0.3% in V1 and between 0.05% and 1% in V2, depending on the pool. On top of that, each platform charges its own interface fee. So Hashbacks is 0.7% and Saucer Swaps is 0.4%, again, soon to be 0.25%. Also, one distinction with Saucer Swap is that our interface fee is selective and not always enforced. For example, swaps in stablecoin pools are exempt. Also, for some outside context, Uniswap's interface fee is currently 0.15%. So with the upcoming reduction, Saucer Swap will be positioned much more competitively. And as volume on Hedera grows, economies of scale could allow us to reduce this interface fee even further.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. Very nice to hear. And now the next question says, what's the team's current strategy to onboard more institutional or DeFi native users to Saucer Swap?
Yeah, so institutional and DeFi native adoption is part of the vision. We mentioned in the intro, we have a plan to announce next week our joining of the Mika Crypto Alliance, which is all about aligning with EU regulatory compliance frameworks as that environment develops. We are also taking lessons from leading protocols like Uniswap, which is a perfect example for us because they're a permissionless, non-KYC decentralized exchange. And they implement front-end controls such as blocking OFAC sanctioned regions. We already do that as well, but they have some other things as well, like integrating with Chainalysis. So as more compliance tools come online on Hedera, like Chainalysis integrations, we'll be in a position to deliver a non-KYC interface that's still compliant enough for institutional capital. And that is really the vision. We have we want a product where retail and institutional users can both interact in a permissionless way, but with the right safeguards in place to meet some of the regulatory expectations across different regions, all without sacrificing DeFi's core principles. It's a little bit like threading a needle, but Uniswap has navigated it pretty well. They're a US company. Saucer Swap is a US company, so there is precedent there.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter. And the next question on that line, it says, is Saucer Swap involved in any efforts to bring RWAs to Hedera?
Not exactly. I mean, our goal is to be the infrastructure layer. We want to provide liquidity, the execution, and the rails that other projects can build on. It's not really our role to directly bring RWAs to Hedera. That's more of an ecosystem-wide thing. But what we do, and I think what our role is to ensure that the protocol is compatible with them. So RWAs, but also stable coins and meme coins and everything in between can all trade permissionlessly on the same decentralized exchange. We could just be like a regulated asset only exchange with KYC, but that's not what Saucer Swap is. We're non-KYC, permissionless, and want to be compliant as well. So that's the vision, a composable marketplace where every asset type can interact with one another without friction.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And now the next question says, are there any upcoming marketing campaigns, influencer partnerships, or paid media efforts tied to the launch of the mobile app or new desktop experience?
Yeah, I guess the new desktop experience refers to the web app. But yes, we are working on a campaign. So for the mobile app, that includes coordinated press in crypto native media. So basically like a Web3 press release and ecosystem partner amplification. And kind of broader, the Hedera Foundation is also doing great work amplifying key developments across the ecosystem. they have been just doing amazing work in the last few months, and we're really excited to be supported by them. We also have a head of growth role posted, as I mentioned before. Once that's filled, they will be responsible for owning the full performance funnel from awareness to usage, and they'll help drive some of these campaigns forward.
Great. Thank you very much, Peter. Yeah, I think having a head of growth will be very valuable for all of us and all the community. And just apart from what Peter mentioned, just a remark from my side, more from the Spanish-speaking community. Like sometimes not everything is visible on the general chat or on the main English-speaking community, but we have some efforts in parallel targeting certain regions or certain countries. So, for example, with some of the loyal community members we have on the Spanish-speaking community, we have opened doors to another network of content creators. So, for sure, we're building some campaigns around the launch of the new website and the mobile app. So, for sure, we're working on those things also from our side. And we have those things in mind. We're working on it, and yeah, like at least now we have probably between 8 to 10 people on board, and we're working on some interesting things, which not necessarily everyone will see it because it's a bit targeted to certain regions or languages. But just note that on the background, we're always working and trying to improve and reach, like the more people we can, ideally outside of the Hedera community. So yeah, just a remark from my side, and now we can go to the next question. Is there any update on the Kraken and Binance listings and the Asian crypto exchange that SOS is in negotiations with? Are DEX tokens generally harder to list than meme and altcoins when it comes to exchanges? And when do you find out if Coinbase, Kraken, or Binance have rejected your applications to be listed on their exchange?
So today there are no tier 1 listings to announce. We, as mentioned, have submitted to Kraken, part of the Mika Crypto Alliance partnership, joining as a member is to have that Mika white paper and EU regulatory compliance, which is actually a requirement for a lot of these exchanges, including Kraken. We won't comment further right now on other tier 1s until there's something locked in. We are making progress with a regulated Asian regional exchange that aligns with the user growth we're seeing in that market. That's moving forward. And on the broader question around DEX governance tokens, yes, they are generally more difficult to list than meme or coins with a lot of hype. The reason for this is the due diligence bar is just higher for compliance and liquidity quality, and even the revenue model at the protocol level are all scrutinized more heavily. For us, the priority, as mentioned before, is investing in the protocol itself rather than paying some of these exorbitant centralized exchange fees for short-term exposure.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter, for the update. And also related to the listing topic, now we have another question that says, will Saucer Swap apply for Robinhood now that HBAR is listed on the Robinhood platform?
That was awesome to see. Again, Hedera Foundation just doing God's work here. For us, it is extremely Robinhood is extremely selective. They mostly focus on large cap assets and certain meme coins. When I was taking a quick look, I didn't even see a place to apply. So I think it might be like a in-network kind of application process. In any case, mid-cap DEX governance tokens like SOS are not their typical listing profile. So we can revisit Robinhood in the future if it makes strategic sense to do so.
Okay, thank you very much for the comment, Peter. There were some news on Next about this new tool called Clustora. So some community members want to know if Saucer Swap will integrate this new InfoFight tool, Clustora.
Yeah, no, it is a cool tool. Actually, I think Weston was creating a ticket and asking some questions to refine it today. So that's good to see. We don't have any plans right now to integrate Clustora. It again looks like an interesting product, but our primary focus is building out first-party analytics that tie directly into our pools, our routing, our pricing engine, um, quoting. So Clustora is a cool tool for other analytic use cases. For what we're building, it's a bit outside of scope right now.
Yeah, Peter, thank you for clarifying. And now the next question says, what metrics are the team tracking to determine the success of the Larry emissions and their alignment with capital efficiency?
So we're primarily tracking the volume to TVL ratio as our key quantitative measure of a pool's capital efficiency. For each V2 pool, we compare that ratio to the percentage of Larry rewards it receives relative to other pools. And if a pool is generating strong volume relative to its TVL, we may increase its reward weight. If it's underperforming, we may reduce it. There's, of course, other qualitative and strategic factors we consider, but volume to TVL is the core metric guiding how we align emissions with capital efficiency. When drafting, like these tokenomics proposals that concern a systematic reweight of Larry rewards.
Okay, thank you very much, Joseph. And like now, like the community has been very active on, bringing up ideas, like, and bringing proposals. So now this question says, like, how will governance evolve in the next year, particularly around Larry emissions and reward allocations?
Over the next year, we plan to refine governance around Larry emissions and reward allocations so that changes can be made in a more precise and data-driven way. One improvement we're exploring is parameterized proposals, where the DAO votes on a range or tiers for emissions changes rather than simple yes-no decisions. This would introduce more flexibility in aligning rewards with market conditions. And we're also looking at rule-based adjustments, where pools that underperform on capital efficiency, again, volume to TVL, automatically see their weights reduced unless the DAO votes otherwise. This keeps incentives closely tied to actual usage without requiring constant manual proposals. On the infrastructure side, while we currently leverage the Hedera consensus service for governance, we'd like to make the system fully compatible with the Hedera smart contract service. So this would allow proposals, once passed, to self-execute on chain, removing the need for us to manually implement them and bringing us more in line with how other DAOs achieve trustless execution. So the broader goal is to keep reward allocations responsive to data while streamlining the governance process.
Okay, thank you very much, Joseph. And now we have a question from Smuggler, which it's on the audience today. So it says like this: can the team automate rewards to pools that contribute most to the SaucerSwap KPIs, like volume and activity, instead of new pools taking rewards from existing ones?
Yeah, so as mentioned in the last question, we're looking into a more systematic approach with rule-based adjustments. And again, currently we use capital efficiency as the key metric to determine optimal weighting schemes. But we only apply this periodically, and ultimately the community largely dictates how rewards are weighted through governance. This is a good opportunity to encourage governance members to think beyond the historical pattern of proposals focused on incentivizing individual project pools. Anyone is welcome to put forth an RFC that proposes a systematic reweighting of pools across the board, whether by capital efficiency or other data-driven methods as the basis.
Awesome. Thank you very much for the answer. And now we have a question from Thrives. It says, like, should team wallets, and it says like unpaid or allocated tokens, be excluded from governance votes to avoid ethical issues and conflicts of interest for a fair process?
Yeah, good question. I don't think so. There are former team members who have fully exited their sauce positions at this point, and as a result, no longer have any governance power. And the fact that some current team members have not done that and remain holding sauce shows, in my opinion, a high level of commitment to SaucerSwap's success. We typically do not vote on governance proposals as a team, but participation is up to the individual. And if someone strongly believes in SaucerSwap and chooses to hold sauce rather than exit their position, I believe they should be able to participate in governance just like any other committed holder.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter, for your position. And now we go to the next question from our user community member Celestial Being. It says, "What is the team worried about in the next 3, 6, and 9 months out?"
Yeah, this is a cool question. I think this is the first time a question of this variety has been asked. So in the next 3 months, the main risks are launch related. Audit findings for the various features we're rolling out, App Store approval delays. There are some horror stories around this, like with Uniswap's app, I think it was delayed for months. But now there's some precedent, so there's less risk there. And then ensuring the limit order features perform as intended and the split router works. Those are the main risks for us right now. We're addressing this with staged rollouts, feature flags, and thorough QA before anything goes live. So we have a risk mitigation strategy in place. We also have a call with Apple coming up on Tuesday to try to get some pre-app store approval. At 6 months, I think the focus shifts to ecosystem dynamics. Liquidity fragmentation is still something I'm worried about as more bridges go live. Maintaining momentum if market conditions soften is something that can pose a risk. And keeping some of the regulatory endeavors on track as well. The regulatory environment is always developing. There's new policies and recommendations. So like this MiCA white paper is something we're doing now. But there are some unknowns there. At 9 months, I think it's about scale. So we need to execute at a higher volume, and we need to develop faster without overextending the team. Our metrics need to go up for us to hit this sustainability flywheel. We need to stay ahead of regulatory changes and just keep user attention as competition grows. I think it is a really good thing that there will be new DeFi protocols launching on Hedera. That is not something that worries me. It's more about the network level metrics. Overall, TVL needs to grow. Overall, volume needs to grow. Overall, users need to grow. So the Hedera Foundation grant gives us a lot of runway. As Joseph mentioned, gives us about 12 months runway for a startup of our size. Typically, you want 18 to 24 months of runway. So that's why we have a revenue model, is that we can remain delta positive there. And it allows us to increase the headcount on our team to achieve some of the things I mentioned, increasing the velocity of development, namely. So hope that answers it. That's what we've identified as risks for about the next 12 months, but we do have strategies in place to mitigate those risks.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Peter. And I believe that was the last question. So that wraps up our August AMA. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us and for all the questions you submitted. So even without Pineapple here today, it's been a pleasure to be here with you, catching up with everything happening on SaucerSwap and the ecosystem. Everyone in the team is equally excited and happy about the Hedera Foundation news. So before we close, as usual, it's time for the community's favorite moment, the Dog Star Award. And if you're new to our project or joining our AMA for the first time, like, this award goes to a community member who shines through their positivity, support, or contributions. So this month, the winner is Rebel MB. So we have seen he's a true Hedera Maxi, and it's constantly sharing valuable insights about SaucerSwap, especially on X, so helping spread the word about our project and keep the community informed. So yeah, thank you very much, Rebel MB. Congratulations, and please reach out to receive your reward. So everyone, stay tuned on our channels for more updates. And until next time, thank you very much, guys, and stay in touch. See you guys.
Thank you very much, everyone. Take care.
Take care, guys. Bye.